Extreme Anime Radio has had a lot of firsts since January of last year. January of 2020, we officially started a podcast. In the fall of 2020, we started broadcasting on Twitch. And now here, in the middle of February 2021, we're having our very first interview with a Guinness World Record holder. Joining me now on the audio realm is Matt Emblidge. Hello, Matt, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry that due to some bandwidth issues, we couldn't bring you on video-wise, but could you tell all of our viewers and listeners what is the record that you have?
Sure, it's pretty simple. It is the largest single collection of merchandise related to the anime Cardcaptor Sakura and also Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card. I have the record at 4,873 pieces.
4,873. Wow. Let me take you back before the record. When did your fascination with Cardcaptor Sakura all begin for you?
That started all the way back in, I think if I have this date right, it's 2001 when the dub of the show Cardcaptors was airing on the Kids WB network. So that was my first exposure to it. And then I found the manga sometime also during that year.
So, and then it just kind of blossomed after that, basically.
Yeah, well, it's I watched the show for the entire run on Kids WB, and they repeated it enough so that I could see it. And then a few years later, this was developing internet times. I found fan sites that opened my eyes to the world of sub versus dub, and learned that there's a lot more of the series that didn't get aired here in the States. So I tracked down DVDs, got myself a set that I could watch, and that was how I experienced the whole series by about, 2004-ish.
A lot better than watching it on WB, wouldn't you agree?
Yes and no. I have an unpopular opinion here. I of course consider Cardcaptor Sakura to be the superior product, but I unironically enjoy the Nelvana dub of Cardcaptors. So it is not well loved by the community, and I don't know if it's just purely nostalgia, but I have been going through the series recently, and it's hard at times, but I actually think it was a good product for its time.
Okay. So you watched all versions of Cardcaptor Sakura, basically, and then started all of the collecting. About how long have you been collecting Cardcaptor Sakura memorabilia, do you think?
Officially, 2001, I bought the Cloud Book in Toys R Us. But
Wow.
the collection, the collection as it really is now started in 2006 when I went to my first anime convention and found some merchandise there. So that was kind of the official start of collecting stuff for this series. Like I also had the manga, but I didn't really count the manga as collection. It's it's just part of what you have. But yeah, when it came to collecting merchandise, 2006-ish is about when I really started.
Okay. And then when and why did you decide to pursue the Guinness World Record for collecting specific memorabilia from this franchise?
So I'd been collecting pretty regularly up until 2016, when the first record holder for this, Sophia Pichiwa, she claimed the record. Up until then, I'd never really considered that idea. I kind of knew that Guinness occasionally had like records for largest Star Wars collection or largest Simpsons collection. I thought you had to be like a big name to get one of those, but she went and got one. And I thought, that's cool. I think I can beat her. And at the time, we were about tied. I don't remember exactly what I had at the time, but hers was 1,086. I think I was in the ballpark, plus or minus 200 items. I don't remember exactly what I had.
Okay.
So I decided I wanted to beat her, but I kind of forgot about it for 2017. Then in 2018, I went to Tokyo to go to the Sakura exhibition. It was this museum of artwork and stuff dedicated to the series. And in that exhibition was there was a piece written by Sophia. Like, she got to have a little blurb written in there, and I thought that should be me. That should be my blurb. So as soon as I set foot back, at the time I was living in Hawaii. So as soon as I set down in Honolulu, I started cataloging everything because, gosh darn it, I was going to get this record. And then it took another 2 years.
Wow. How easy or difficult of a process was it to officially get certified? Did somebody from Guinness have to get back to you and officially verify everything that you had?
So the way it works is that from starting from square one, you first have to submit a request to Guinness and ask, will you take this record? So for me it was easy because the record already existed. So I could just ask them, hey, I want to beat this record. And then they'll give you a go ahead. Yeah, you can do that. Then you have to submit the evidence. You can pay them to send an adjudicator to you, but that's really, really expensive. It's kind of more of a, a big event or businesses kind of thing.
Right.
If you're an individual like me, you can do it yourself with some certified volunteers who can verify the authenticity, and what you have is physically there. It exists. It is what you claim it is. So it's a little bit of an involved process, but it's quite doable.
So I had a couple of questions. One comes from Kesho Cho, who is actually one of the cosplayers of our mascot here on Extreme Anime Radio, Sarah Yoshida. And Kesho Cho wants to know what your favorite Cardcaptor Sakura memorabilia is.
So my favorite item is technically not a single item. It is my collection of rubber charms that they became popular a few years ago. They're stamped or molded pieces of rubber on a keychain. There are a lot of them for Cardcaptor Sakura. I don't know offhand. I think my wall has 190 something of them.
Wow.
And that's not quite all of them that there are, but I'm very proud of those. I really like them as a product. So kind of that whole wall is my favorite item.
Nice. And then also Neff Canuck, who is my co-host of the Extreme Anime Radio podcast, he was unable to join us for this recording, but he wanted to know, in contrast, what merchandise in your collection was very difficult to track down?
So I think the hardest thing for me to track down is a Bandai Cardcaptor Sakura play phone. It's shaped like the cell phone that she has in the series. I've only ever seen 3 of them, and I have the third one because the first 2 I lost out on the bidding for.
Oh wow.
So I had that one is not only the hardest one to find, but it was the hardest one for me to actually obtain because I basically had to actually fight people for it. I don't often have to struggle too much in this process. I don't have the most competition in the world. But that phone is special, and I have one, and it works, and I'm quite happy with it.
Now let me ask you, because this is Extreme Anime Radio, so we focus more on anime aspects and whatnot. If you could single out a favorite part of the Cardcaptor Sakura anime series, whether it be the initial run back when it first came out, or Clear Card series, or the movies, what would be maybe your favorite moment?
I'm going to steer away from Clear Card because unfortunately Clear Card is there's a lot of it that hasn't been adapted to anime yet. But there's some great moments in the manga that I'm really looking forward to for that season 2. Which, if anyone out there is waiting, I can't guarantee it because I don't work in the industry. But I'm like, it's going to happen. Just be patient. There will be there's a lot of lack of hope that the second season will happen. It'll happen. But to your question, I think one of the most memorable moments for me is actually from the first episode I ever saw, which was it's the second episode of the Cardcaptors run, but it's I think it's episode 10 or 11. It's the sword card episode where Uh, she where the scene is where Sakura's friend Rika has been taken over by the spirit in the sword card, and Rika, now wielding the sword, is trying to well, basically murder Sakura with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of established right then and there that this series was like, okay, this is a quote unquote girl show, but also
Right.
like there's some legitimate danger here.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those kind of moments that's kind of always stuck out to me is like that this is a show that's going to set itself as, you know, it can it's not defined by its genre. It can it can go places.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good action scene too for what they were working with. So yeah, that's one of my more memorable scenes.
And who's your favorite character? Would it be Sakura herself, or do you have another character that you like?
Um, it's hard to pick one. I kind of like Sakura's great, but for me, and this probably makes sense considering what my record is for, but my favorite character is Tomoyo.
Ah,
Uh, because it's she and I have that same aspect of like I'm actually happy just sitting back and observing. Um, and I'm not. I want to believe I'm not quite as obsessive, but then again, here I am as the Guinness World Record holder. So like, well, I'll let the viewers decide if I'm as obsessive as she is. There are moments in Clear Card where I feel like, you know, Tomoyo is dipping into the crazy lady stereotypes a
mhm.
little bit. So I don't think I'm that far gone yet.
Right. Well, Matt Emblidge, last question for you. Now that you've secured this Guinness World Record, what's next? Will you continue expanding your Cardcaptor Sakura collection, or maybe will you go for another world record?
Well, the collection is actually still increasing anyway. It's actually over 5,000 pieces now. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just because I had a large collection of cards come in right after I submitted my evidence. So
Mm-hmm.
those didn't get counted. Uh, so I will continue to expand, but probably at a slower pace. Uh, it's largely because I'm running out of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I feel like it can get bigger, but that is my goal, is just continue collecting. Uh, I'll probably update the record at some point if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
But as it is right now, I don't collect anything else that would be worthy of a collection or another Guinness World Record. I don't know what I'm going to do other than I run a YouTube channel, the CC Yamato, where I right now I mostly just talk about the manga, but I want to get back into doing videos about the items I have. I did a few very early videos about things that I had
Mm-hmm.
because I want I want my collection to be a showcase. I'm going to plug another thing. My Tumblr, the Cardcaptor Museum. I want it to actually be a museum, you know, that people can see. So that's kind of the goal here, is to allow people to see more of the stuff.
So, Matt Emblidge, who can also be reached on Twitter at CCM underscore Yamato. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And again, congratulations on your world record.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.